What if there was a place on Earth so silent and even your thought began to sound unfamiliar? At the northern base of Mount Fuji has lie a forest where encompassing without reason, footsteps seem to vanish behind you, and visitors often report strange sensations. As the forest starts watching, is the Aokigahara Forest, a place where many locals visit enter a lone image standing at the edge of the tree. The sunlight fades almost instant, swallowed by a dense canopy of twisted branch. The air feels heavier here. Stars behave differently. Birds rarely sing. Wind barely move the leaf, and within minutes the outside world feels impossible farther away. Some hikers say the silence is peaceful. Others describe it as deeply unsettling. Over the decades, countless people have walked into this forest searching for something answered, escape, or perhaps simply solitude. And not everyone who enters finds a way back. Rescue teams have moved carefully through the terrain, following a faint trail marked by color ribbon leave behind by previous visitors hope to retrace their steps. Why do electronic devices malfunction here? Why do experienced explorers lose their sense of direction? Is there why there has this forest become one of the most whispered about places on Earth? Beneath the most covered ground lie ancient volcanic rock formed by Mount Fuji violent eruption century ago. Root of towering tree twisted across hardened lava, creating a landscape both beautiful and treacherous. Every step feels uncertain, and as if the earth itself resists being crushed. Yet Aokigahara is not simply a forest of danger. It's a forest of story of mystery, tragedy, science, and myth, and woven together beneath the endless reselling. Some believe the forest holds spiritual energy tied to ancient forest folk. Others argue that its reputation has grown from misunderstanding and fear. Tonight we step beyond the tourist pace and into the heart of Aokigahara, a place where silence speaks louder than sound, and where the deeper you go, the harder it comes to turn back. Aokigahara Forest lies in the northwest base of Mount Fuji, Japan's most iconic and scary mountain. Blanket of dark trees pressed tightly together, hiding the complex world beneath its canopy, covering approximately 35 square kilometers. The forest grew up on hardened lava field created during Mount Fuji massive eruption in the year 862 AD. Unlike most forests rooted in rich soil, Aokigahara stands on uneven volcanic rock. The ground is jagged, porous, and unpredictable, filled with hidden caves, cracked tunnels formed as molten lava cooled centuries ago. Moss and root creep over these ancient stones, masking the terrace and making navigation far more difficult than it appears. Entering the forest, one quickly noticed how different it feels from ordinary woodlands environments. The trees grow densely packed, yet this branch intertwining so tightly The sunlight struggled to reach the forest. Even during midday, interior remained dim filtered through layer of green shadow. Visibility shortened, landmarks disappeared, and familiar direction could fade away. The climate around Aokigahara add another layer to the strange atmosphere. Cool mountain air flowed down the Mount Fuji, keeping temperature lower than surrounding regions. Humidity remained high throughout much of the year, encouraging thick moss growth that blanket rock, fallen tree, and pathway in soft green silence. During winter, snow settled quietly between trunks, further mooting down south. In summer, mist drifted through the wet forest, creating an almost dreamlike environment where distance and death become visible to judge. Perhaps the most unusual environmental characteristic of Aokigahara lie beneath the surface. The volcanic lava contains high concentration of magnetic iron, which can interfere with compass and electronic navigation device. Visitors often discover that traditional orientation to behave unpredictable, contributing to forest reputation for disorientation. Combined with uniform appearance of trees that represent a clear visual marker, even experienced hikers can quickly lose their sense of direction. Sound behaves differently here as well. The dense vegetation absorbs noise, creating the stillness rarely experienced anywhere else in nature. While struggling to pass through the tightly packed branch and echo fade almost instantly, many who walk inside describe the sensation as stepping into melt pain removed from the outside world. A natural is isolation that feels both peaceful and unsettling. Yet, what truly set Aokigahara apart from other forests is not only its geography or climate, it's the powerful psychological effect it has on who enter. Few places combine natural beauty, geological unity, cultural history, and hunting reputation to complete. The forest exists at the intersection of nature and human emotion, shaped by story perceptions. Lava tree here in nature does not simply write you in, it encloses you. As the towering slope of Mount Fuji watched silently from above, Aokigahara stands on the most unusual landscape on Earth, the forest born from fire, preserved by science, and forever wrapped in mystery. Long before Aokigahara became known to the modern world, its story began with fire. In the year 862 AD, Mount Fuji erupted with tremendous force during what historians call the Yoga eruptions. River of molten lava flowed down the mountain north slope, swallowing village, reshaped shape, and permanently transformed the landscape. And the eruption finally ended. A vast field of hardened volcanic rock remained black, lifeless, and seemingly incapable of supporting life. For years, the land stood barren. Both nature is patient. Gradually, most began to take hold within tiny lava, with wide carry seed across the cooling terrain as a reason. resilient plant species slowly root themselves in porous volcanic stone. Unlike ancient forests that evolved over fertile soil, Aokigahara grew upward from volcanic chaos. Even today, she would struggle to penetrate deeply into the rock, forcing them to twist across the surface of tangled patterns. Beneath the forest lie hidden lava tube and lava cave, silently reminded of violent geological force that creates this place. Long before modern Japan emerged, the region surrounding Mount Fuji held deep spiritual meaning for early inhabitants, indigenous community, and earliest and Japanese settler viewed the mountain as sacred, a dwelling place of powerful spirit. No alchemy within to believe the dense forest at its base was considered a boundary between the human world and the realm of the supernatural. Ancient folklore described forests like Aokigahara as place where spirits wander freely. Travelers often avoid entering dense woodland after sunset, believing there was territory where the living and unseen overlap. Ritual practice and pilgrim to Mount Fuji reinforced the idea that the surrounding forest was spiritually charged landscapes deserving respect and caution. During Japan's medieval period, stories began to circulate linking remote forests and hardship and survival. One controversial legend associated with regions like Aokigahara is the practice of Ubasute, a prayer which elderly or ill family were alleged abandoned in a remote mountain during the famine. While historians debate whether such eventually occurred, the legend became deeply embedded in cultural storytelling, casting a shadow over isolated wilderness area. As centuries passed, Mount Fuji grew into a symbol of national identity and artistic inspiration. A poet Mount traveled to mountain seeking enlightenment, just Aokigahara itself remained largely unexplored. Its dense growth, even terrain, and lack of clear paths discouraged settlement, allowing the forest to remain unusually untouched by urban expansions. In the modern era, the forest entered global awareness through literature and medieval 20th century novel, and most reports began portraying Aokigahara as a place tied to solitude, reflection, and tragedy. This portrayal shaped public perceptions, gradually transforming the forest from a quiet natural reserve into a location surrounded by myth and emotional symbol. Japanese eerie story legends and headline lines or deeper truth. Aokigahara is first landscape forged by the earth's raw power. A forest that rose from volcanic devastation and carries centuries of human belief within its shadow. Its story not defined by a single moment, but the layer of geology, culture, and memory woven together beneath the silent tree. And to understand the mystery of Aokigahara, one must first understand what this forest was. Never ordinary From the very beginning, it was born differently. As night fell over Aokigahara Forest changed, the already dim light faded into near darkness, and the silence deepened until even the smallest moment be feel amplified. For centuries, local villagers have spoken of Aokigahara not merely as a forest, but as a place where the boundary between world becomes seen, where ancient belief and unseen presence linger among the trees. The traditional Japanese folk forests were often believed to inhabit by Yurei, restless spirits who are unable to move on from physical world. This spirit was said to wander locations tied to strong human emotion, with loneliness, regret, because Aokigahara stood isolated at the foot of sacred Mount Fuji. Many believe it became the gathering place for the wandering soul. Among the most enduring legends are tales of ghostly figures appearing briefly between chunks. Pale silhouette is seen at the edge of visions, despairing when approached, while skeptics attribute to this sighting to imagination happening by isolation. Believer exists the forest hammer every moment brought into Japanese mythology also speak of supernatural being to know Yakuzokai, a mysterious entity that inhabits remote natural place, though no single creature is often tied to Aokigahara. Storytellers often share describe shallow light presence moving silently through the forest, and hunter and woodcutter one report feeling of being watched, as the unseen eye tracked their movement from deeper within the wood. Another long-standing belief centering around spiritual energy. Some locals claim the volcanic formation beneath Aokigahara acts as a supernatural amplifier of emotion. According to this idea, the forest does not create darkness itself, but reflects the emotional state of those who enter it. Visitors seeking peace may not find tranquility, whose carrying fear and shadow experience overwhelming the sense of unease. One controversial legend linked to the forest involved a story of Basute, a alleged abandonment of elderly relatives during ancient famine. Also, historians debate the accuracy of the tale. The myth became particularly powerful over generations. The idea contributed to Aokigahara image as a place connected to solitude, ending, and spiritual transitions. Over time, Aokigahara first became known not only for its legend, but for a growing number of real-world incidents that blur the line between myth and the reality. Each year, local authorities conduct organized research within the team of volunteer police officers and rescue personnel move solely through dense vegetations, careful scanning rare areas rarely visited by tourists. Their work requires methodology and often emotionally heavy. While many visitors enter Aokigahara safely, some journey end with disappearance, adding to the forest's unsettling expectation. One frequent discussed challenge is how easily people lose their way and most Unlike most forests, Aokigahara often very few natural landscape experienced hikers have reported becoming disoriented between minutes after stepping in established trail. Several survivors have described near easily similar experience. One hiker recalled following what appeared to be a cliff, only to realize also that he has been walking in circles, while another visitor supported of another overwhelming sense of beneath the tree cognitive vinyl compass making traditional verification unreliable. Witness testimony often include description of unusual sensory experience, and some visitors say sound behave strangely. Footsteps simulated distant noise and vanish rapidly, and voice can to carry through the dance floor. One report sudden drop in temperature and sensations of being watched and even not even complete. We are also being accounted for unexplained light seen within the forest itself. At night, camper and nearby residents often occasionally describe feeling low infra moving slowly between trees and disappearing entirely. Scientists suggest the sign may result from natural causes such as reflection atmosphere conditions. Yet the experience continues to fuel speculation. Search and rescue worker, but more than anyone else, understand how unpredictable Aokigahara can be. Many describe the forest as psychological disorienting rather than physically overwhelming. The silence, isolation, lack of visual variation can gradually erode a person's sense of direction, and time hours may pass unnoticed, increasing the risk of panic. In several documented cases, missing individuals were later found unsurprisingly close to main trail, having unknowingly wandered in tight loop, dense undergrowth, and even uneven lava slow movement, making even short distance exhausting to cross. Once fatigue set in, decision making become more difficult for the complicating rescue effort. Despite modern technology, Aokigahara remains a challenging environment for searching operations. GPS signal can weaken beneath thick canopy coverage, and terrorists limit visibility from the air. Helicopter often struggle to spot individuals hidden beneath their foliage. Yet perhaps the most unsettling subtle aspect of the event is how ordinary many stories begin as peaceful walk, a moment of solitude, a brief decision to explore just a little people, then silent, then explained by geography, psychological, and coincidence. The disappearance associated with Aokigahara continues to reinforce its reputation as one of the most enigmatic forests, a place where reality itself sometimes feels uncertain. And for those who have walked into the hidden path, one lesson return again and again in Aokigahara, losing your path happened far more easily than anyone expected. For many, mystery surrounding Aokigahara scientists offer a very different perspective, one ground not in superstition but in geography, ecology, and human psychology. The forest's unusual behavior begins beneath the surface. Aokigahara span on a massive lava field formed during Mount Fuji eruption in 864 AD. The molten rock cooled. It hardened into porous volcanic basalt, filled with air pockets, tunnel and regular mold formation. This lava structure creates uneven terrace hidden beneath layers of soil and moss, making movement difficult and sometimes disorienting. Among the most common reported phenomenon involve malfunction on compass. Scientists explain that the volcanic rock in the region contain ionic rich mineral cables, influencing magnetic reading. The modern digital device usually function normally, while traditional cooking compass may have unpredictably when placed directly against a certain rock or underground formation. Combined with the forest's uniform appearance, even minor directional error can quickly lead to confusion. The remarkable silent Aokigahara also have a scientific explanation. A dense arrangement of trees, thick underground and soft moss-covered ground absorb in south, where instead of reflecting them without echoes and distant environmental noise, human brain lose familiarly auditory difference used to judge space and distance. This acoustic damping effect can create an unsettling sensation, often described as unnatural. Researchers have also studied the psychological impact of environments like Aokigahara. Humans rely heavily on visual variations, mountain, river, clearing to remain the orientation. Inside the forest, a repetitive scenery dominates the landscape. Similar tree patterns extend in every direction, causing psychological risk called spatial disorientation. Over time, the brain struggles to form mental map, increasing anxiety and the feeling of being lost, even when help may be nearby. Hidden beneath the forest are also remarkable natural features, lava tube and ice cave where temperatures remain cold year-round. Some caves preserve ice breathing during summer months, offering insight to microclimate formed by volcanic landscape. This underground equipment supports special organism adapted to darkness and stable temperature rarely found elsewhere. From scientific viewpoint, Aokigahara is not supernatural; it's an extraordinary and natural laboratory. Every strange experience reported within the forest, the silence, the disorientation, and the atmosphere emerged from a powerful interaction between geology, environment, and human mind. What feels mysterious often results from natural processes working together in voice rarely encountered elsewhere on Earth, and perhaps the realization make Aokigahara even more fascinating. The forest does not need legend to feel or otherworldly. Nature alone has already made it so. Despite its calm appearance, Aokigahara Forest represents a series of very real danger risks, have little to do with legend and everything to do with nature itself. At the first glance, the forest seems does not hostile, is not towering cliff or violent river blocking the break, yet the danger lies subtly. The terrace beneath Aokigahara is not even and deceptive from entirely an ancient lava flow. Sharp volcanic rock hide beneath soft layer of moss and fallen leaf, creating unstable footing. A single misplaced step can result in twisted ankle, deep cut, and sudden fall into concealed crevice. Tree roots spread horizontally across the surface rather than deep into soil, forcing hikers to constantly navigate obstacles underfoot. Progress becomes so exhausting, especially for those underprepared for extended walking. What appear to be a short distance on map take an hour to coincide in the forest. Environmental hazard add another layer of risks. The dense carcinography blocks sunlight, causing temperature to drop quickly as evening approaches. Even during warm season, the interior of the forest remains cool and damp. Hypothermia can become a certain for those hikers who underestimate how rapidly conditions change after sunset. Fog frequently forms the near base of Mount Fuji, drifting slightly through the tree and reducing visibility only a few meters. When mist settles in, familiar pace disappears and disorientation becomes nearly impossible without careful navigations. Wildlife within Aokigahara is generally elusive rather than aggressive, yet encounters still demand cautions. The forest is home to white-boar venomous insects and snakes that blend silently into the underground. Startled animals may react defensively if surprising at close range, particularly in the area far from established trails. Perhaps the greatest danger, however, is psychological rather than physical. Many explorers enter Aokigahara believing it to be an ordinary woodland walk. They leave marked paths to explore deeper sections, assuming they can easily return without visual map reliable compass reading. Small navigational error compound-free panic often allow for further confusion, and panic leads to poor decision. Moving faster, changing direction repeatedly, and abandoning safe route entirely. Searching rescue report constantly highlight similar mistakes, inadequate preparation, traveling alone, underestimate distance, and failing to carry proper navigation tool or emergency supply. In a forest where every direction looks the same, confidence can fade faster than expected. Aokigahara does not attack those who enter. Instead, its deadly awareness, patience, and respect for the environment is danger acquired gradually and unforgiving. emerging not from sudden catastrophe, but from slow realization that the forest around you complete. And when this orientation begins, escaping its green maze becomes far more difficult than anyone else imaged. Throughout modern history, Aokigahara Forest has drawn the attention of explorers, scientists, journalists, and filmmakers, individuals determined to understand the place surrounded by mystery and powerful reputation. Under a remote, rugged, and parallel landscape, Aokigahara does not challenge explorers with extreme distance or altitude. Instead, it presents a more subtle test: psychological endurance and environmental awareness. Many who enter the forest expecting a simple expeditions discover that its true difficulty lies in perception itself. One of the earliest organized exploration comes from Japanese researchers studying Mount Fuji volcanic geography. During the late 19th and early 20th century, geologists mapped lava flow, documented underground cave systems, and analyzed how vegetation managed to grow across hardened basalt terrains. This scientific expedition revealed that Aokigahara was not merely woodland, but a living ecosystem built directly upon volcanic history. Later, Carp explored adventuring into forest hidden lava tubes. Among the most notable discoveries were the Narusawa ice curve and Fujisawa white curve, natural formation created by forming lava centuries earlier. Inside this cave, explorers found year-round ice deposits preserved by stable internal temperature, and this discovery attracted both scientists and tourists, transforming part of the forest into protected nature momentum. In 20th century, Aokigahara began attracting journalists and documentary filmmakers seeking to understand its growing global reputation. Many report unexpected experience. Forests felt far larger and more isolating than maps suggested. Camera crew often struggle with navigation despite modern equipment, reinforcing account of spatial confusion within the dense terrain. Some expectation of focus on search and rescue operation rather than exploration. Volunteer groups organize annual or patrol aimed at assisting lost visitors and encouraging safe travel practice. This team developed careful methods for moving through the tall forest, marking route and maintaining communication system designed to prevent disorientation. Not every expedition unfolds smoothly. Several explorers describe abandoning deeper journey after realizing how quickly visibility and orientation could disappear. Even experienced hikers admit underestimating the psychological effect of prolonged silence and repetitive scenery. In interviews, some recall moments when the forest seemed to close in around them, making distance and direction difficult to judge. Despite tech- technological advance, GDP device, drone, and satellite mapping, Aokigahara continue to resist complete familiarity. Each expedition contributes new understanding while also confirming how unique the environment truly is. The forest reveals its secrets slowly, offering knowledge only to those willing to move carefully and respectfully through its landscape. For explorer, our ultimate discovery was not a single hidden mystery, but a complete reality. Aokigahara is neither fully conquered nor fully understood. It remains a place where science, exploration, and human emotion intersect, reminding every visitor that even a modern age are still landscape capable of humbling human certainty. For decades, Aokigahara Forest has been surrounded by mystery, fear, and supernatural. Yet most terrifying truth about this forest is not hidden in ghosts or legends. It lies within human nature itself. The real danger of Aokigahara is isolation. Unlike environments that threaten through violence and extreme weather, this forest works slowly and quiet on the mind. Its dense cartography removes visual reference point. Its silent eliminate familiar sound. Without this sensory agency, human brains struggle to maintain orientation and emotional stability. Researchers have found that prolonged exposure to environments lacking variation can heighten anxiety, distort perception of time, intensifying existing thought and emotion. In Aokigahara, people are not live alone without nothing but their own mind. Visitors realize how quickly psychological disorientation can occur. Even confident hikers may begin second-guessing their direction after a short distance. Small doubts grow larger, decision-making becomes harder. Forest does not trap people physically, it confuses them mentally. Another lesser-known fact is how deceptively close civilizations remain. Road, town, and tourist area exist only short distance beyond the tree, yet many lost individuals unknowingly move farther while believing they are heading towards safety. The uniform landscape creates a natural maze without war. Perhaps what makes Aokigahara so unsettling is reveal how fragile humanity's certainty can be when familiar signals disappear. The forest's greatest threat is not something chasing you in the darkness, but the quiet moment when you realize you no longer know which way lead home. As the final light fades behind Mount Fuji, Aokigahara returned to silence. From above, the forest looked peaceful, a vast ocean of green resting beneath one of the world's beautiful mountains. Nothing about its appearance did suggest danger. No warning sign visible of sky, no indication of color story carried beneath its cartography, and yet So we have worked its pace understand how Aokigahara is more than destination on the map. It's a minor, a place where nature trip away distraction and leave visitors alone with their thoughts, their fear and their hope. Some enter searching for adventure, others seeking quiet reflections. Many simply wish to experience the mystery for themselves, but almost everyone lives with some realizations. The forest change, how you feel long before it change how where you stand. Scientific Spanish science, historic Spanish reputation, and geographic Spanish danger, but Namaste explanation fully captures the experience of standing aside Aokigahara surrounded by endless trees, unsure where the forest ends and your own thought begin. Perhaps the mystery of Aokigahara does not exist within the forest at all. Perhaps it exists within Earth, the humanity enduring fascination with place and remind us how small are in the face of nature. Tonight, the forest remains exactly as it has for centuries, quiet, watchful, and patient. And somewhere beneath those sharp branches, the question still linger. If you walk into Aokigahara, would you fully try purify your way back?